Some of you have reached out to ask how some plants are doing. Plants that I got a few months ago, are they still alive? Are they thriving? Did you kill them yet? And doing a then and now video is one of my favorites. So that's what we're going to do. Join me with a tasty beverage of your choice close to hand while we take a look at 7 Hoyas then and now. When a new plant arrives, I try and take a picture of it, just so that in the future I can look back and get a good idea of how far it's come or not, because that happens sometimes too. And it's good to share that information so that if you don't own the Hoya or you're looking for it, you have some idea of what the growth could be, what my experience has been with it. So without any further ado, let's get on to the first Hoya. And the first Hoya up today is this NS12323. I liked it the first time I saw it. I thought it was a really interesting, very pretty little plant, unlike any of the other Hoyas I have. And it took me a while to find it. It was very expensive at the time, but you know, I don't pay those prices. Like I say, not for something I can kill in a couple of days. So I waited and shopped around and found a nice little starting plant. I did not expect this. This is just incredible. It branches like no other Hoya I have in my collection. The leaves it almost looks like a discidia. Matter of fact, it was believed to be a discidia for quite a while. It's just a beautiful plant. I can't get over the branching. I can't get over all the aspects of it. This is just a gorgeous little plant. That's just very pretty. And it has grown like this is 6 months growth. And it probably could have even been more lush, but stuff happens. So it's got a little more sun stressing than I like. I moved it up a couple inches on the wall of that plant shelf, and we're going to correct that because this is a little too pink for me. You don't see, well, you do and you don't. There's beautiful veining in these tiny leaves. So I'm going to move it back down to where it was before. This is just so pretty. And it's a grower. It's going to want a little bit of room, but a little bit of room. It's not crazy, stupid, growing nuts, but it is. This is just, probably picked up on that. This is a plant that when you're ready and when the price is right, you need to find. It's a good grower. I'm happy with this one. It's Hoya species NS12323. The next plant up is this hoyadennisii I wanted this plant from the first time Miro showed it to me. Zdravo, Miro. And it took me a while to find it. It was, again, very, very expensive. So I waited and I shopped around and I found a little 2-leaf start. Not a cutting, it was rooted, so it's like, okay, we can do this. And it grew a little bit, and then there was a slight flat mite resurgence. You'll hear that frequently during this. So we treated it. We noticed the symptoms right away. We treated it. It did fine. It grew some more. It's got these, let's find some good ones. Absolutely beautiful leaves. Just nice little variegation, nice little shape. Everything about them is very cool. We'll see if I do better with close-ups this week than last week. And it grew pretty well. And we thought I had the flat mites under control. Clearly I didn't. Because a few weeks ago, it started to drop leaves. And it's like, that ain't right. That's not how this is supposed to go. So we did another sulfur treatment. Thanks to a couple of people who suggested I try predatory mites, predatory insects, predatory things. I'm looking into that. I'm doing some research on it. I'll let you know how that plays out. I think what I need to do is clean off all the sulfur on everything before I introduce any beneficial mites, because that would seem counterproductive to not do that. Anyway, this is a gorgeous plant. I've seen some more full and lush examples of it. Unfortunately, I don't have one of those. It's still alive. It's still growing. The leaves are just beautiful. And we're going to see what happens. It looks like it's trying to put out leaves again. We're happy about that. But I'll keep you posted. This is hoyadennisii-frida. Sometime toward the end of last year, my Hoya hero, Miro, he probably won't like that. But anyway, he did a short little Instagram post about Hoya species Lai Chau. And I thought it was just beautiful. It was one of those, I need one of those. So I started doing the research, trying to find out where I could get one. And I found Hoya species Lai Chau roundleaf, Hoya species Lai Chau longleaf, and Hoya species Lai Chang Forest. And I couldn't be sure exactly which one he had that I was looking for. So I did the logical thing. No, not research. I ordered all three. So the first one to arrive was Hoya Lai Chau roundleaf. Oh, yeah. This is gorgeous. Let's find some big, beautiful leaves. They're just far prettier than I thought they would be. And they've got a nice size to them. The veins are a little raised. There's some splash. They're just, yes. He sat around for a little while. He traveled, later in the year, so it's like a lot of these are from October. So it was starting to cool down. This was just a couple of leaves, this one and this one inside. And he put out a vine and grew and put out another vine. We're really happy. I have found him wrapped around all kinds of things that I've had to, coax him off. And there's some, Hoyas, there's some kind of super Velcro on the tips of Hoya vines. They don't want to give up this, they get dug in like a tick. So he's been unfurled from a few things and seems to be doing well. No difficulties, no problems, no demands. He's in ambient temperatures, ambient humidity. He's under grow lights, but that, most of my Hoyas are, so that's no big deal. And you get that. That's just really pretty. So this is Hoya species Lai Chau roundleaf. from that same Hoya adventure, this is Hoya species, Lai Chang Forest. It's not often that Miro recommends a Hoya and you try and figure out which one it was and end up with 3. Or maybe it does happen. It hasn't happened to me, but this was, this is where we went. These leaves are big. They're not firm. They're big, glossy, very subtle veining. It's been something of a slow grower, but I think the flat mites got to this one too. Let's hold up one of these big beauties and see what you think. That's just really nice. It's added a new leaf on the inside in the last week or so, and there's a new vine that's got 2 leaves and a growth point I am trying to stay away from. I think when this gets going, I'm probably going to regret I won't regret ordering it. I'm going to wish I had more space, because if all the leaves come in like this, that's going to be really, really pretty. Yeah. Starting out looking for 1 and ending up with 3, that's how it goes, doesn't it? And if you're wondering, the Lai Chau long leaf will be in the next, because it took me a while to get that, actually. It came after these other 2, but this is really interesting. I'm going to be curious to see how this plays out. Is that another growth? No, old vine. So we'll keep this in mind and in sight and let you know how this one's doing. It's really pretty. I say that about all of them, but it's true. This is really pretty. This is Hoya species, Lai Chang Forest. This heavy lifting, all this work, it's exhausting. Hydrate, hydrate. So the next one up, I've seen it listed as Hoya species Bengkulu and Hoya species Rindu Rafflesia. And I still haven't figured out how to pronounce the second part of that. It's like raffle with sia on the end of it. So I don't know if it's Rafflesia, which sounds weird, Rafflesia, which sounds somewhat less weird, Rafflesia, I don't know. So I wrote all of those on the tag. I got this because I saw it in bloom online, and it was supposedly an easy plant to grow. And the leaves are, if you're not going to get blossoms right away, you might as well have interesting leaves. And I think these might just fill that bill. They're very long and narrow. Nice little veins in them. Nothing, there's a bit of splash, nothing terribly, these are just hardening off. Nothing terribly fancy, nothing elaborate. And I'm happy to see it growing, because for the longest time, it arrived with just these 2 leaves that were like obscene rabbit ears sticking out of the pond. And I didn't do anything for a long time. And then all of a sudden, it decided it was time to get busy. So it did. Put out this vine, which is grabbing onto there for dear life. Put out a second vine, which I had to extract from the neighboring plant, because the kids in the plant room are just going nuts, and everybody's getting into everybody else's business. And I try and talk to them nice, but they don't always listen. So I'm looking forward to a little bit more growth on this. I'm happy with this so far. This is 6 months. This one too also had flat mite issues. Um, it's not that some people get freaked out when they get pests on their plants. I don't so much get freaked out anymore as I get annoyed. I got other stuff to do. I don't need to be dealing with flat mites. And so that's why I'm looking into the beneficials, but we'll see. I know how to use the sulfur and it works. So, the devil you know. Anyway, this has been a fairly steady grower. Nothing too fast yet, but it seems to be responding to the warmer temperatures. Just in general. So we're going to keep our fingers crossed and keep an eye on it. But this is Hoya species Bengkulu Rindu Rafflesia. This next plant I had wanted since the first moment I saw it. And that's been a couple years. But it was always very expensive. And then it got to be very, very popular and the price went up even more. And you know me. So we put it off. It was on the wish list. It was off the wish list. It was on the wish list. It was off the wish list. And then one of the times it was back on, I did a little search and found it, and I looked at it and went, that's a really big plant, and it's not a lot of money. And so I ordered this pot of Rangsan, Hoya species Rangsan, which has been, I believe, classified now as a latifolia, which makes absolute and perfect sense. And when it arrived, it was a big pot of Rangsan. There were a lot of rooted cuttings in that pot. So I picked out the good big ones and potted them up together. And then the rest of them got sold off as smaller plants. Yeah. What can you say? I mean, that's just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. It absolutely looks like a latifolia. It was, for the price I paid for this at the time, this is a really, really good investment. Not an investment, but I got a good deal. And once it settled in, I mean, this is one of the new leaves. These are the new leaves. They're big. They're dark green. They've got lots and lots of splash. I'm going to have to figure out a big trellis for this thing. It's like, is that another growth point? Oh, yay. I'm going to have to figure out a nice trellis to support all this, because this thing, it has just been, I'm happier with it than I thought I would be. It's, oh man, if you've been looking for one, wait, shop around. The prices aren't as crazy as they used to be. You can find some really good deals. And it's a beautiful plant. I can't say enough good things about it. It's just been a nice, steady, good grower. The leaves have lots and lots of splash, slightly raised veins. They're glossy. They're long. Man, it's like, it's a Hoya. It's a Hoya. Absolutely. It's a Hoya you want. This is Hoya latifolia Rangsan. last plant I'm updating was never ever on my wish list, or any list of mine for that matter. It arrived as a thank you cutting with an order I placed from an online seller. I didn't know anything about it. I had no expectations, no goals, no plans for it. But, a free cutting, let's see what happens, because why not? This is Hoya RH009. It's one of Rick Morier's crosses. It's pretty. It's growing a vine like crazy. The leaves are nice. The leaves are kind of pretty. Nothing dramatic, nothing too flashy. A little bit of splash, nice shape. But it's putting out this vine that I would like this vine to produce something other than vine. I've seen pictures of the blooms. They're pretty enough. The leaves are really pretty. I think this would make a really pretty full plant. Are you listening? Do something, because you were a freebie and I'm not terribly vested at this point. Make me vested. Get me excited. So we're going to see what happens. Cool enough. Nothing else to report other than, like the vine starts here and goes around and goes around and goes around and comes up. And maybe those are leaves forming at the top. I'm not sure. But, that was a long way to go just to put out a couple of leaves. So, produce. Put out. Come on. Anyway, Hoya species RH009. So that's it for this week. Thank you for choosing to spend a little bit of your time with me. I definitely appreciate it. If you had fun or you saw something you hadn't seen before, let's not go there, or found a new plant to add to your wish list, then please click on the like and subscribe buttons. Really important to helping my channel grow. And we'll see you here again next week. I'm going to post links. It's on this side now. I've learned that. Links to a couple other videos here that you might also find informative and entertaining, perhaps either one of those two. But thank you again. Thanks for watching. We'll see you here again next week.